Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day. Don't forget, grab your smartphone and download the Lava Matra app and stay in touch. Guru Maharaj's message is your advantage. The following is a Sri Krishna Chaitanya book compilation given by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj on January 22nd, 2021 in Sri Mayapur, India.
Pangalangaradayuram Yatithataman Vande Sri Guru Nintanam Paramanandamalavam Sri Chaitanya Isram Hariyo Tatsat. The compilation of the Sri Krishna Chaitanya book, chapter entitled Ramananda Rai explains about devotional service.
Ramananda Rai explains about devotional service.
Prabhu Jai say Vipragare Dika Koila Dui Janar Utkantai Asisanya Hoila.
Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then went to the house of the Brahmana who had invited him and took his lunch there. When the evening of that day arrived, both Ramananda Roy and the Lord were eager to meet each other again.
প্রভু স্নান কৃত্য করি আছেন বসিয়া একভৃত্য সঙ্গে রায় মিলিলা আসিয়া। প্রভুর প্রত্যহ 3 বার স্নান, সন্ধ্যায় প্রভুসহ রায়ের মিলন।
After finishing his evening bath, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat down and waited for Ramananda Roy to come. Then Ramananda Roy, accompanied by one servant, came to meet him. Purport: a Vaishnava is supposed to be advanced in spiritual understanding, be he a householder or a sannyasi. Must bathe 3 times a day, morning, noon, and evening. When one is engaged in the service of the deity, he must especially follow the principles of the Padma Purana and take regular baths. He should also, after bathing, decorate his body with the 12 tilakas.
This 12 tilak called the Urdhva Pundra.
12 tilaks are called Urdhva Pundraka Tilak.
And so one should learn how to wear the tilak and chant the respective mantras.
And one should learn how to wear the tilaks and chant the respective mantras.
Srila Prabhupada was saying how just putting on the tilak without chanting the mantras is like some Aborigines wearing war paint.
Sri Prabhupada was saying how wearing tilaka without chanting mantras is like Aborigines wearing war paint.
রায়ের প্রণাম প্রভুর আলিঙ্গন নমস্কার কইল রায় প্রভু কইল আলিঙ্গনে দুই জনে কৃষ্ণ কথা কয় সে স্থানে।
Ramananda Roy approached Lord Sri Chaitanya and offered his respectful obeisances. And the Lord embraced him. Then they began to discuss Krishna in a secluded place. Purport: the word Raha Sthane, in a secluded place, is very significant. Talks about Krishna and his pastimes, especially his pastimes in Vrindavan and his dealing with the gopis, are all very confidential. They are not subject matter for public discussion, because those who hate, those who have no understanding of the transcendental nature of Krishna's pastimes, always commit great offenses. thinking Krishna to be an ordinary human being and the gopis ordinary girls. Following the principle of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who never discussed the dealings between Krishna and the gopis publicly, devotees in the Krishna consciousness movement are enjoined not to discuss the pastimes of Lord Krishna in Vrindavan in public. For the general public, Sankirtan is the most effective method to awaken Krishna consciousness. If possible, one should discuss the principles enunciated in the Bhagavad Gita. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu followed this principle very strictly and discussed the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita with learned scholars like Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Prakashananda Saraswati. However, he taught the principles of the Bhakti cult to students like Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami, and he discussed with Sri Ramananda Roy the topmost devotional dealings between Krishna and the gopis. And he discussed with Sri Ramananda Roy the topmost devotional dealings between Krishna and the gopis. For the general populace, he performed Sankirtana very vigorously. We must also follow these principles in preaching Krishna consciousness all over the world.
So, it's very important that we engage the people in chanting Sankirtan
It's very important that we engage the people in chanting Sankirtan
and avoid discussing confidential matters
and avoid discussing confidential matters
in the public.
in the public.
Bhagavad Gita, spoken about Krishna, are the first 9 cantos of the Bhagavatam can be discussed.
Bhagavad Gita, spoken by Lord Krishna, and first 9 cantos of Bhagavatam can be discussed in the public.
But discussing pastimes of Krishna and Vrindavan, the one doesn't understand the transcendental nature of Krishna, one can commit offense.
But discussing confidential pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan, one who doesn't understand the transcendental nature of Krishna can commit offenses.
প্রভু রামানন্দ সংবাদ প্রভু কর্তৃক সাধ্য সাধন জিজ্ঞাসা রায়ের উত্তর ক সাধন অবিধের স্তর আদৌ দৈবাশ্রম রূপ স্বধর্ম পালনে শেষর নৈতিক বা ধর্ম জীবন আরম্ভ প্রভু কহে পড়ো শ্লোক সাধ্যের নির্ণয় রায় কহে স্বধর্ম চরণে বিষ্ণু ভক্তি হয়
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Ramananda Roy recite a verse from the revealed scriptures concerning the ultimate goal of life. Ramananda replied, if one executes the prescribed duties of his social position, he awakens his original Krishna consciousness. Purport: in this connection, Sri Ramanujacharya states in the Vedartha Sangraha that devotional service is naturally very dear to the living entity. Indeed, it is life's goal. This devotional service is supreme knowledge of Krishna consciousness, and it brings detachment from all material activity. In the transcendental position, a living being can perfectly acknowledge the superiority of serving the Supreme Lord. The devotees attain the Supreme Lord only by devotional service. Having such knowledge, one engages in his occupational duty, and that is called Bhakti Yoga. By performing Bhakti Yoga, one can rise to the platform of pure devotional service. A great saint, the father of Srila Vyasadeva, Parashar Muni, has specifically mentioned that devotional service to the Lord can ultimately be awakened in human society by the discharge of duties in accordance with the Varnashram system. The Supreme Personality of Godhead instituted Varnashram Dharma to give human beings a chance to return home back to Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, who is known in the Bhagavad Gita as Purushottama, the greatest of all personalities, personally came and declared that the institution of Varnashram Dharma was founded by him. Actually, the modern idol of a classless society can be introduced only by Krishna consciousness. Let men perform their occupational duty and let them give their profits to the service of the Lord. In other words, one can attain the perfection of life by discharging one's occupational duty and employing the results in the service of the Lord. This method is confirmed by great personalities like Bodhayan, Tanka, Dramida, Guhadev, Kapadi, and Bharuchi. It is also confirmed by the Vedanta Sutra.
দৈব বর্ণাশ্রম রূপ স্বধর্ম পালনই বিষ্ণুর তুষ্টি। বিষ্ণু পুরাণ 3:8 পরাশরোক্তি। বর্ণাশ্রমাচারাবতা কুরুষেন পরপুমান বিষ্ণুরাধ্যতে পন্থা নান্যক্ত সকারণম।
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, is worshipped by the proper execution of prescribed duties in the system of Varna and Ashrama. There is no other way to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One must be situated in the institution of the four Varnas and Ashramas. This is a quotation from the Vishnu Purana, as stated by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Pravaha Bhasya. The purport is that one can realize life's perfection simply by satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One executes his prescribed duty in both the social and spiritual orders. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is satisfied. If one neglects his duties, however, he becomes a transgressor and a candidate for a hellish condition. One should accept the Varnashram divisions by qualification, not by birth. Unless the system is introduced, human activities cannot be systematically executed. If a society does not function according to such natural divisions, the social orders become degraded. The conclusion is that the scientific method of Varnashram Dharma should be adopted by society.
ভগবানে কর্মার্পণ রূপা কর্ম মিশ্রা ভক্তি ও শুদ্ধ ভক্তি নহে। প্রভু কয়ে এহ বাজ্য আগে কহ আর রায় কহে কৃষ্ণ কর্মার্পণ সর্বসাধ্য সার।
The Lord replied, "This is external. You had better tell me of some other means." Ramananda replied, "To offer the result of one's activities to Krishna is the essence of all perfection."
So Lord Chaitanya, by asking Ramananda Rai, is going to the finer and finer points.
So Lord Chaitanya, by asking Ramananda Roy, is going to finer and finer points.
So he said that the Varnashram is external. He wants to know something more internal.
So he said that Varnashram is external and he wants to know something which is internal.
ভোগলিপ্সু কর্মীকে কৃষ্ণে কর্মার্পণ জন্য আদেশ শ্রীমদ্ ভাগবতমের 9:27।
Yat karoshi yat ashnasi yat jihoshi dadasi yat tapyasasi pontaya tat kurushava mad arpanam. Ramananda Roy continued, "My dear son of Kunti, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer in sacrifice, whatever you give in charity, and whatever austerities you perform, all the results of such activities should be offered to me, Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead." Purport: the Lord has said that the Varnashram Dharma is not properly executed in this age of Kali. Therefore, he ordered Ramananda Roy to go further into the matter. Ramananda Roy replied with this verse from Bhagavad Gita 9:27, which instructs that while remaining in the system of Varnashram Dharma, one may offer the results of his activities to Lord Sri Krishna in loving service. Naturally, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asking Ramananda Roy about the execution of devotional service. Ramananda Roy first enunciated the principle of Varnashram Dharma in consideration of materialistic people. However, this conception is not transcendental. As long as one is in the material world, he must follow the principles of Varnashram Dharma. But devotional service is transcendental. The system of Varnashram Dharma refers to three modes of material nature, but transcendental devotional service is on the absolute platform. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu belongs to the spiritual world, and his methods for propagating the Sankirtan movement are also imported from the spiritual world. Sri Narottam Das Thakur has sung Golokera Premadhan Hari Nam Sankirtan.
Haribo.
Haribo Ratina Janmile Kene Taya. This states that the Sankirtan movement has nothing to do with this material world. It is imported from the spiritual world, Golok Vrindavan. Narottam Das Thakur laments that mundane people do not take this Sankirtan movement seriously. Considering the position of devotional service and the Sankirtan movement, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu deemed the system of Varnashram Dharma to be material, although it aims at the elevation to the spiritual platform. However, the Sankirtan movement can raise one immediately to the spiritual platform. Consequently, it is said that Varnashram Dharma is external, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu requested Ramananda Raya to proceed deeper into the matter and uncover the spiritual platform.
কেবল ফলভোগ ত্যাগ বা নৈষ্কর্ম শুদ্ধ ভক্তি নহে। প্রভু কহে এহ বাজ্য আগে কহ আন, রায় কহে স্বধর্ম ত্যাগ এই সাধ্য সার।
This is also external. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Please proceed and speak further on this matter." Ramananda Rai replied, "To give up one's occupational duties in the Varnashram system is the essence of perfection." Purport: a Brahmana may renounce his family and accept sannyas. Others, Kshatriyas and Vaishyas, may also give up their families and take to Krishna consciousness. Such renunciation is called karma tyag. By such renunciation, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is satisfied. In contrast, the process of renouncing the results of one's activities by offering these results to Krishna is not considered uncontaminated, because although such a process implies that one recognizes Krishna as the Supreme Personality, as the Supreme Person, it still involves one in activities on the material platform. Since such activities are within the material universe, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considered them external. To correct this, Ramananda Raya recommended that one take to the renounced order of life in order to transcend material activities. This is supported by the following verse from Bhagavatam.
বর্ণাশ্রম রূপ স্বধর্ম ত্যাগ করিয়া হরিভজন, শ্রীমদ্ ভাগবতমে 11:32। আজ্ঞায়ৈবং গুণান্দোষান মায়াদিষ্টানপি সকান, ধর্মান সংত্যাজ্য যা সর্বান মাং ভজেৎ স চ সত্তমম।
Ramananda Rai continued, occupational duties are described in the religious scriptures. If one analyzes them, he can fully understand their qualities and faults and then give them up completely to render service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a person is considered a first-class man.
শ্রীমদ্ ভাগবত গীতা 18:66। সর্বধর্মান পরিত্যাজ্য মামেকং শরণং ভজ, অহং তং সর্বপাপেভ্যো মোক্ষায় মা শুচ।
As stated in scripture, Bhagavad Gita 18:66, after giving up all kinds of religious and occupational duties, if you come to me, Supreme Personality of Godhead, and take shelter, I will give you protection from all of life's sinful reactions. Do not worry. Purport: in this connection, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami instructs in his book Mana Shiksha, Na dharmam shruti gana niruktam kila kuru raje rudhag Radha Krishna prachura paricharyam iha tanu. He has thus enjoined that we should not perform religious or irreligious activities as prescribed in the Vedas. The best course is to engage always in the service of Lord Krishna and Radharani. That is the perfection of everything in this life. Similarly, in Bhagavatam, it is said by Narada Muni, Yad yasyanugrahati Bhagwan Atma Bhavita Sajahati Matim Loke Vedecha Parinishthitaram. One actually takes loving service of Supreme Personality of Godhead. He gives up all duties in the material world as well as all duties prescribed by the Vedic literatures. In this way, one is fixed in the service of the Lord.
জ্ঞান মিশ্রা ভক্তি শুদ্ধ ভক্তি নহে, প্রভু কয়ে হো বাজ্য আগে কহ আর, রায় কহে জ্ঞান মিশ্রা ভক্তি সাধ্য সার।
After hearing Ramananda Roy speak in this way, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again rejected his statement and said, "Go ahead and say something more." Ramananda Roy then replied, "Devotional service mixed with empiric knowledge is the essence of perfection."
Chaitanya is one Dita and Dita. What is purely transcendental?
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going deeper and deeper. What is more transcendental? Purely transcendental. Purport: devotional service mixed with non-Vedic speculative knowledge is certainly not pure devotional service. Therefore, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati in his Anubhasya preaches that self-realization following the execution of ritualistic ceremonies is in the neutral stage between liberation and conditioned life. It is a place beyond this material world, in the river Viraja, where the three modes of material nature are subdued or neutralized in the unmanifest stage. However, the spiritual world is a manifestation of spiritual energy and known as Vaikuntha Loka, the place where there is no anxiety. The material world, known as Brahmanda, is a creation of the external energy. Between the two creations, the material creation and the spiritual creation, is a river known as Viraja, as well as a place known as Brahmaloka. Viraja Nadi and Brahmaloka are shelters for living entities disgusted with the material life and inclined to impersonal existence by way of denying material variegatedness. Since these places are not situated in the Vaikuntha Lokas or the spiritual world, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proclaims them to be external. In the Brahmaloka and Viraja Nadi, one cannot conceive of the Vaikuntha Lokas. Brahmaloka and Viraja Nadi are also attained after difficult austerities. But in these realms, there is no understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His transcendental loving service. Without such spiritual knowledge, simple detachment from material conditions is but another side of material existence. From the spiritual point of view, it is all external. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected this proposal, Ramananda Raya suggested that devotional service based on philosophy and logic is a more advanced position. He therefore quoted the following verse from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 54.
সম্বন্ধ জ্ঞানলব্ধ ব্রহ্মই কৃষ্ণ ভজন ফলে বৈষ্ণব। শ্রীমদ্ ভাগবত গীতা 18:54। ব্রহ্মভূত প্রসন্নাত্মা ন শচতি ন খঙ্কতি সম সর্বেষু ভূতেষু মদ্ভক্তিং লভয়তে পরম।
Ramananda Rai continued, according to Bhagavad Gita, one who is thus transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed toward every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. Purport: in this verse from Bhagavad Gita, it is said that a person who accepts the theory of monism, being always engaged in empiric philosophical discussions about spiritual life, becomes joyful and is relieved from all material lamentation and hankering. At that stage, one is equipoised. He sees all living entities as spiritual beings. After attaining this elevated stage, one can attain pure devotional service. The conclusion is that devotional service mixed with ritualistic fruitive activity is inferior to spiritual service based on empiric philosophic discussion.
So, Ramananda Rai is going step by step into the different levels of devotion.
So Ramananda Roy is going step by step into different levels of devotion.
জ্ঞানশূন্য ভক্তি শুদ্ধ ভক্তি শব্দ বাচ্য প্রভু কহে ইহ বাজ্য আগে কহ আর রায় কহে জ্ঞান শূন্য ভক্তি সাধ্য সার।
After hearing this, the Lord, as usual, rejected it, considering it to be external devotional service. He again asked Ramananda Roy to speak further, and Ramananda Roy replied, "Pure devotional service without any touch of speculative knowledge is the essence of perfection."
Previously, Ramananda Roy had presented bhakti with devotional service with empiric philosophy. And now he's saying pure devotion without any speculative knowledge.
Previously, Ramananda Roy had spoken of devotional service mixed with empiric knowledge. And now he's speaking of devotional service without any speculative knowledge. In his purport, in his Anubhashya commentary, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that this stage, devotional service mixed with speculative knowledge, is also external and not within the jurisdiction of pure devotional service as practiced in Vaikuntha Loka. As soon as there is some conception of materialistic thought, be it positive or negative, the service is not spiritual. It may be free from material contamination, but because there is mental speculation, the devotional service is not pure and free from the contamination of material life. A living entity who wants to be completely pure must be above this material conception. The negation of material existence does not necessarily mean spiritual existence. After material existence is negated, spiritual existence, namely Satchit Ananda, still may not be manifested. Until one comes to the stage of actual understanding one's eternal relationship with Supreme Lord, he cannot enter into spiritual life. Spiritual life means becoming detached from material life and engaging in the loving service of the Lord. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore asked Ramananda Roy to explain something transcendental to devotional service, mixed with speculative knowledge. A pure devotee is completely surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord, and only by his love does he conquer Krishna, who cannot be conquered by anyone. Krishna always stands victorious over everything. No one can conquer him. One can attain the stage of pure devotion simply by fully surrendering. This is next corroborated by Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.3, where Lord Brahma, defeated by the potency of Sri Krishna, fully surrendered unto the Lord.
So, just to negate the material existence doesn't take one to the spiritual world.
So just to negate the material world doesn't take one to spiritual world.
Someone is still in the middle place.
Someone is still in the middle place.
So one has to actually allow the natural love and affection of the Supreme Personality.
So one actually has to drill up natural love and affection for the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
কৃষ্ণের সম্পূর্ণ শরণাগত জনই কৃষ্ণ বশকারী শুদ্ধ ভক্ত। শ্রীমদ্ ভাগবতম দশম স্কন্দের 14:3।
ज्ञान प्रयासम उदपस्य नमन्त एवा जीवन्ति सन्मुखरितं भवदीय वर्तम स्थाने स्थिता श्रुतिगतं तनुवन मनोभि ये प्रयासो जीतो अपि असितैस्त्रिलोक्यम्. Ramananda Roy continued, Lord Brahma said, "My dear Lord, those devotees who have thrown away the impersonal conception of the absolute truth and have therefore abandoned discussing empiric philosophical truths should hear from self-realized devotees about your holy name, form, pastimes, and qualities. They should completely follow the principles of devotional service and remain free from illicit sex, gambling, intoxication, and animal slaughter, surrendering themselves fully with body, words, and mind, they can live in any ashrama or social status. Indeed, you are conquered by such persons, although you are always unconquerable.
So you can see that the divine grace of Lord Charan Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada beginning the process of pure bhakti.
So we can see that His divine grace, Abhay Charnavind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, was giving the process of pure devotional service,
which naturally is transcendental to everything material.
which naturally is transcendental to everything material.
So one find this path of devotional service and be in any status.
So one point is that one can practice the path of devotional service in any status.
I mean, one may be a grihasta, a brahmachari grihasta, vanapasta, or sannyasi.
One can be a grihastha, vanaprastha, or a sannyasi.
And in this way, one will be completely surrendered to Krishna.
And in this way, one can be completely surrendered to Lord Krishna.
Thus, Krishna may be conquered, although he's unconquerable.
And thus, Krishna may be conquered, although he is unconquerable. Thus ends the chapter titled Ramananda Roy explains about devotional service in practice.
Do you like our ad-free videos? Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day, and don't forget to like and share our channel.